for Oregon State Senate in District 10. So I just wanted to get on, make sure you guys are, as always, aware of down ticket candidates for everyone, and make sure that we're going to be supporting everyone, not including just the presidential campaign, but we have to support candidates at all levels. So, Taylor, I'm just going to kind of let you start here, and why don't you tell me who you are, why you're running, and why you're a Libertarian.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan. Like I said, I'm Taylor Rickey. I'm running for Oregon Senate District 10. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm a devoted husband and a great father. My reason I'm running is my district that I'm running in is very winnable. It's set up 31% Democrat and 30% Republican and 39% Libertarian, Green, Constitutionalist, and all other people that don't vote or are unaffiliated. So I'm targeting them, and I think District 10 is very winnable. Go ahead. Did you say something?
Oh, no, I was going to say, okay, yeah, that sounds like a winnable race if the largest population, and that's pretty similar in a lot of counties. I think all races are winnable. We just have to get out there and get the message out there. So what are some of the things that you're campaigning on that set you aside from your opponents?
Well, my opponents, Deb Patterson, she wants to focus more on cost of living, child care, and home pricing. And I'm running more on the platform of criminal justice reform, real criminal justice reform. That was my platform before Jacob Blake, George Floyd, and all of that addressed it nationally. I wanted to bring it locally for criminal justice reform, real criminal justice reform.
So what are some real criminal justice reform things that you would bring forth, and what's your experience with the criminal justice system that would make you qualified to make these changes?
Mainly, I want to end mandatory minimum sentences. The incumbent right now, Denise Boyles, she just voted yes on HB 4122 that establishes a 300-month minimum sentence or 25 years on aggravated assault charges. I don't think an aggravated assault charge should carry 25 years. That's what you get for murder. So I look at that, and mandatory minimums, they overcrowd our prison populations. I also want to end plea deals, the overuse of them. Most cases that go in front of, they never see a judge. So when you see somebody convicted of a crime, they normally took a plea deal, and the way that the plea deals are set up is plead guilty to these lesser charges, makes our numbers look good, and that's it's got to go because it's not indicative of the true criminal justice system.
Yeah, it forces serious crimes to be able to be given lesser sentences than minor crimes, and forces people into positions of needing to take a plea deal over the threat of even a longer sentence, even though they may not be actually even guilty, but they may be fearing conviction.
Yeah, absolutely. That actually came up to me personally 10 years ago. I was in a situation where I didn't do the crime that I was committed of, but my public defender that I had at the time said, hey, if we go to trial and your victim gets on the stand, she starts crying, the jury's not going to look favorably upon you, and this is your plea deal. You should take it. And being young, I think I was 19 at the time, I signed it. I was like, I don't want to go to prison for 7 years as opposed to a 3-year suspended sentence, which ended up happening. But the long story is, they say, hey, sign your plea deal, and makes them look good.
Okay, so you yourself have been in that situation, and I don't know if you want to go into the topic of whatever it was or not. That I guess that's your personal history, and if you've served your time, in my opinion, you've paid your debt, if whatever your crime was, and that should be for all citizens, in my opinion. And Jo Jorgensen herself has even advocated for restoration of all felons' rights. So I would have to assume that your opponents would try and use something like this against you in your race. Has that happened yet? And if it is, what would you say to them?
Absolutely. In fact, I had an elected official from the GOP here in Oregon come out and tell me, drop out of this race. It is too important for a Libertarian to be in here and siphon off votes from our candidate. And if you don't, we'll let out your background. And I'm not ashamed of it. It's made me into the man that I am today, a man that I feel is comfortable running. I have the support of my family. And I'm sorry, I'm just reading some comments coming in.
Oh, don't worry about the comments. Just don't worry. Don't look at the comments. That's always the important thing during these. I'll show you. We'll talk about comments if they need to be pulled up.
No. So they told me to drop out of the race, and I won't. I feel like it's a winnable race, and my ideas need to be heard. At least if I don't win, we might be able to move the needle in real criminal justice reform instead of talking about paying for childcare for major corporations.
Absolutely. So let's kind of migrate there. So you've gotten now. I don't know if you've publicly come out in front of your opponent there, threatening to expose your history, but here you've done it publicly, and I think that's an honorable way of getting in front of dirt in a campaign, is making sure you're in front of it. You remove that power from them. So I do respect you for that. What are some, we talked about criminal justice, but what are some libertarian policies that you think, especially in Oregon, I mean, we've all been watching what's been going on across the country. What are some things that you think you can do in state senate to help improve the situation in the country, just not necessarily just at criminal justice, but in general at the state senate level?
In general, a big one here in Oregon is cap and trade. It's the Senate walked out last year over it. Democrats want to tax us over cap and trade, and for what? It's going to have a very minimal effect on the environment as a whole. So it's just a way to generate revenue, and taxation is theft. So I oppose that greatly. A way to combat that would be to encourage more green businesses practices than to punish businesses that pollute. So I would oppose cap and trade and put forth legislation to encourage more businesses that go green. And then I want to work on uniting our broken communities, like the shooting in Portland last night. That doesn't need to happen. We got Patriot Prayer, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Proud Boys. They're waging wars in our communities, tearing apart communities, families, everything. And they should take that energy and put it towards something positive instead of burning buildings down and shooting people in the streets. It's honestly, they're fighting over which political party, in my opinion. You got the ones on the left and the ones on the right, and they think they're right when both parties are to blame. Both old parties are the reason why we're on the brink of another civil war. And we need to step back and look at the true enemy. And that is the two-party system that is dividing our nation.
Well, I did that backwards. I meant to pull anyway. So absolutely, I interviewed Vermin Supreme yesterday, and he talked about just the focus of, it's not about being right. It's about removing the power from the duopoly and giving the power back to people and supporting people who are willing to do that. And I thank you for that message. So every campaign needs things. So obviously, every race across the country is getting millions of dollars poured into it across all levels of government. As libertarians, we tend to have to be much more conservative with how we spend our campaign funds and how we are campaigning. So what are you doing to get your name out there, and what do you need help with to get your name out there further?
Honestly, I'm running mostly on social media, word of mouth. It's really small. Like you said, I don't have the money to compete with the Republicans or the Democrats. I have my daughter, Samantha. She Snapchats. She shares things on Facebook for me. You know, she's 19. This is going to be her first time voting. She's getting that younger generation of people to really look at politics that they overlook, or they just vote blindly that their parents have. I think that is where my real target is in the younger people, because that's the one that we're going to have the most impact on. That's what's going to affect them further down the road, is getting them involved. And also, I want to focus on non-voters. So we're not going to win Democrats or Republicans over. They're lost. They're all in on Biden. They're all in on Trump. They're all in on red and blue. We need to meet the middle, because they lost the middle. The middle's ours. And us as libertarians, we need to take them.
Okay. A question came in the chat here. Someone asked, what's up with the race baiting in politics? Where do you see how that's furthering this divide in the country here? So I'll just kind of pop it up. So someone asked, what's up with race baiting in politics?
I mean, it's simple. Adolf Hitler did it to the Jews. I mean, you find somebody and you blame them, and that's not your enemy. You can't judge one whole group of people, whether they're black, Hispanic, or whatever, and use them as a political token. So Democrats are guilty, Republicans are guilty. We need to step back from race and look at the individual. And I think as libertarians, we focus on the individual, not the collective.
Okay. One of the questions here, someone brought up, Kathy follows our page very thoroughly. Kathy, good to see you as always. She brought up, also on prisons, how many are incarcerated due to not having bail options? I know of several inmates that have been waiting over a year for their hearing. Some were before COVID. They also can't vote because they can't get ballots because they're waiting trial and they can't pay their bail. Making them pay for personal care products at ridiculous markup prices while in prison. Spike Cohen has come out against having cash bail as a system that we should be letting more people out on their own recognizance. Do you have any opinions on, especially at the state level, because bail typically is a state issue, do you have any opinions on the bail system that can be improved in Oregon?
Absolutely. In my personal experience, when I was 19 and incarcerated, I didn't have bail money. And I think my bail was set at $500,000, if I remember correctly. Like I said, it was 10 years ago. I don't remember the exact number. But I'm a 19-year-old kid. I don't have $5,000 to get out of jail. So I'm sitting in jail, and I'm scared. I am, what do you do in that situation? Bail sets them up for taking that plea deal. It's like, you can get out of jail. So we need to, like you said, more people out on personal recognizance and lower bail, because it's just a way for the state to get money, for one, and it sets people up to take those plea deals the longer they sit in prison, especially before COVID, which was March. So,
yeah. I think Crystal Kaiser, she was 14, I think, at the time when she was originally arrested. Her sex trafficker, she's a child sex trafficking victim down in Texas, so we'll shift a little bit here. But it took 2 years to raise the bail money to get her out while she's still awaiting the trial for the murder her trafficker committed. But she's being in there as an accessory. So this child has been in prison waiting forever. There's no, that one wasn't Crystal. That was Crystal actually killed her trafficker.
yeah.
There was another one, Zephania. She is awaiting trial as a accessory. So it harms people of all levels. The bail system, especially, because it'll keep them in there, and it only puts more pressure on someone to want to accept, punishment.
Especially, I mean, people want to talk about our judicial system being racist or a systemic institute of racism, but it's not just minorities. It's all lower class people. I mean, I wasn't particularly wealthy. I had 2 jobs and barely made ends meet. I was working at a gas station in Walmart at the time. No money for bail or a lawyer, you know, the whole criminal justice system. And, you know, it's not inherently racist. It's just set up to favor the wealthy, not the poor or working class.
Absolutely. I also think that when you give someone the ability to wield government force, if they are a bigot or a racist or however you want to describe them, if they have the opinion that they should use it to oppress people, having that system in place in the first place empowers them. Otherwise, they would just be another person on the street that can't do anything about it. So I think dismantling all of those systems is a great step forward for criminal justice reform. So let's shift some gears. So a lot of people always ask me, how can they get involved in the Libertarian Party? How can they support campaigns? So what advice would you give to people who want to get involved? Maybe they want to run for office, at least just get started to give someone an option in their county. So I'll let you take off with that.
Get involved with a local affiliate. I'm a member of the Marion and Polk County Libertarian affiliate here in Oregon. I'm certain your county has an affiliate, and if they don't, feel free to start one. Reach out to your state leaders and say, hey, I want to start a county affiliate in my county. I think it's a great tool to get people in your community that are liberty-minded, and you can talk with them and grow from there.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm looking. There's quite a bit of conversation going in there. So, yeah. Other than that, any last kind of things you want to tell people about your campaign to make sure we can get the message out there to as many people as possible?
Well, I'm going to be in Eugene this Saturday talking before Spike Cohen on his bus tour. And then I'll be following him up there to Portland and speaking the next day on Sunday. So if you want, I'll be live streaming that if you guys want to follow me and hear more. Also, you can follow me on Facebook. I'm not going to ask for donations because, like I said, I want to run my campaign mostly word of mouth, social media, and, I mean, keep your money. You know, we can do it without big money in politics. That's been a huge problem, is big money in politics. So keep your money. Also, before I leave, I just want to let you know that this election is very important. I know everybody says that every 4 years, but it's true. So vote. You don't try to change people's minds on if they're voting for Trump or Biden. Don't fall for that trap. But get your neighbor that doesn't vote, that doesn't believe in the system anymore, and get out there and make a change. Use your votes, and whether you vote Libertarian or not, just vote. It's important.
All right. Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate it. And for those of you that are still watching, make sure you like this, you share it, you subscribe if you're on YouTube, you retweet it if you're on Twitter, wherever you're watching. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And Taylor, thank you for your time. And I wish you luck in your race.
Appreciate it.